So, ever since I was a freshman in high school, I've been saying that Miami was going to win the ACC Championship, and it never has happened. And now, the year 2022, I went from being a freshman in high school to now a junior in college, and I have yet to see my beloved Hurricanes win any kind of championship. The closest I have been to witnessing the Miami Hurricanes football program winning the ACC was when they got destroyed by Clemson in the championship game a couple of years ago, led by quarterback Malik Rozier. But this season, I'm going all out there. I believe that this is finally going to be the year that the Hurricanes finally not only win the Coastal, but win the ACC. And for some people out there, they may say, oh, here you go, JT. Here you go, drinking that Kool-Aid. Well, I got some Kool-Aid right here. I'm drinking all the Kool-Aid, ladies and gentlemen. Mario Cristobal. I did not believe that he was going to leave Oregon for Miami, but it happened. And he has assembled one of the best coaching staffs in all of college football. You have offensive coordinator Josh Gattis, who just was the OC for Michigan, who, let's not forget, they were just in the college football playoffs. He was a large reason for that. You have co-defensive coordinators Charlie Strong and Kevin Steele. Doesn't get no better than that. This is a really fantastic coaching staff that Mario Cristobal has put together. On top of that, you have Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. Last season, he threw for 2,939 pass yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, while completing 62.3% of his passes. And to be honest with you, when Tyler Van Dyke first took over at quarterback, I was a little bit iffy about him. He was a little bit inconsistent. He had some good moments. He had some low moments, but he got better as the season progressed. We literally saw Tyler Van Dyke mature and over the span of one season. So with Josh Gattis at the helm at OC, I expect Tyler Van Dyke to take a really big leap this season. On top of that, Miami has one of the deepest running back rooms in all of college football. You have Henry Parrish, Ole Miss transfer, Jalen Knighton, Thad Franklin, number 22 from the spring game. Please go back and watch the spring game if you haven't already, because this was my favorite player from Miami spring game. He's 240 pounds, and he's a tank. He's not the most elusive. He's not the fastest, but he's a north-south runner. He's going to get the ball. He's going to hit the hole, and he's going to look to run through somebody and put somebody on their you-know-what. I'm really excited about what this Hurricanes team can do this year. I really am. And this is one of the most talented teams in all of the ACC. And it's not like Miami hasn't had talent on their team in the past. Miami has pretty much recruited pretty well. And the fact that it has taken so long for Miami to win the ACC championship is really surprising to me, because talent hasn't really been the issue. It's really been the coaching. You have Mario Cristobal, who is an established coach. He's won at Oregon. He's had success in some of the biggest games. So with him coming to Miami, I'm expecting him to get this thing rolling right away. It shouldn't take 2 to 3 years for Miami to be contending at an elite level. Miami should at least be able to win 10 games, win the ACC, and then be able to make it to a New Year's Six bowl game. And I don't want to hear the excuses about, oh, JT is going to take some time. I saw Mel Tucker leave Colorado for Michigan State, and in just one season, Michigan State went from being the bottom of the barrel to being in the New Year's Six bowl game. I don't want to hear no excuses. There are so many coaches who have turned around programs in the span of 1 year. And then when you look at the fact that we have the transfer portal now, with players being able to transfer and having immediate eligibility, there's no reason why the Hurricanes should not be able to win the ACC. And as a matter of fact, this is probably one of the best opportunities that Miami is going to have to win the ACC in recent memory. Clemson has a lot of question marks. They have a lot to prove. NC State's a really good football team. But let's be honest. Miami should be able to beat an NC State. Not trying to be disrespectful to the Wolfpack fans out there. I'm just calling it how it is. Wake Forest, come on, man. Miami should be able to beat the Wake Forests of the world in the NC States. And they should be able to contend and get right with a school like Clemson. As a matter of fact, they should be able to beat Clemson. Clemson has a lot of question marks. Now, I'm not saying that Miami doesn't have any question marks. All I'm trying to say is that Miami is just a talented football team that has been held back by lackluster coaching. No offense to Manny Diaz. I love you, Manny. I will always respect what Manny Diaz attempted to do as the head coach for the Miami Hurricanes. Manny tried. He really did. Every offseason, he went out there, made changes. There are a lot of head coaches who are really stubborn. They don't really attempt to make changes. Manny did. So I will always have respect for Manny and what he attempted to do with the Miami Hurricanes football program, but Miami needed more. Miami kept bringing in coaches that were good to give you 7-8 wins a year, but with the Hurricanes, they need somebody who's going to take them to that next level. Who's going to be that coach to really bring back the U? Because for years, it seems like Miami has been stuck at this level. They've been stuck at a level where people now start to view Miami as pretty much an average football program. And this football program has so much potential in that. And I'm really happy that the Miami University decided to take it upon themselves and finally dish out some big time money to get a big time hire. So with Mario Cristobal here, the offensive line is going to be really good. He used to play on the offensive line during his time for the Canes, so he should be having his offensive line coached up. This should be one of the best units in the ACC. On top of that, the tight end position is really good. Will Mallory was having a really fantastic spring until he got injured. With him coming back in the fold, I expect him to have a really good season. 2021 was kind of a letdown for Will Mallory. He kind of struggled a little bit this year with how much momentum he gathered in the spring. Hopefully that translates well into the summer and into fall camp, and then hopefully into the regular season. A big question that many people are probably going to have who are not Hurricane fans is going to be the wide receiver position, because Miami did lose Mike Harley and Charleston Rambo. However, you have Keyshawn Smith. Keyshawn Smith caught 33 passes for 405 yards, 3 touchdowns. You have Xavier Restrepo, who is going to be in the slot. He's one of the better slot receivers in all of college football. Then you have a couple of unproven guys who have potential. They have good size. It's just that you don't really know what you're going to get when they're on the field. Jacoby George, many people inside of the program are excited about him. You have Frank Latson. There are some really good football programs in this wide receiver room that many people probably aren't going to be familiar with until the season starts. And the offensive line, like I mentioned earlier, I'm expecting this offensive line to play at a really elite level, with Mario Cristobal specializing in the offensive line department. So if you specialize in something, it should be really good. So hopefully the offensive line ends up playing as well as what I hope it will. 2 offensive linemen that I'm really excited about this year is offensive tackle Zion Nelson. Last year around this time, Zion Nelson had first round NFL hype. He was projected to be one of the first offensive tackles taken. However, last season, things didn't really pan out the way many had hoped. He ended up coming back. You have offensive guard Jalen Rivers, who I like a lot. So there is a lot of talent on this Miami Hurricanes offense. With Josh Gattis, he put a lot of emphasis. He brings this power spread offense, but I'm not really sure he's going to run the exact same offense in Miami that he did with Michigan, because a good offensive coordinator always tailors the offense to the strength of their personnel. So the personnel that he had in Michigan may be a little bit more different compared to what he's working with Miami, which is why he may end up changing his philosophy. On top of that, he has a way better quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke compared to what he had in Michigan with Cade McNamara. No offense to Cade McNamara, he's a pretty solid quarterback, but He's not somebody who's going to go out there and get it done in crunch time. He's not somebody who's going to elevate your offense in a sense. He's more of a game manager is what McNamara was, similar to an A.J. McCarron. There's nothing wrong with having a game manager at quarterback. Stetson Bennett won a championship for UGA this past year being a game manager. But for Tyler Van Dyke, he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. So I would expect that he has way more opportunities with the ball in his hands compared to what Cade had with UM last season. Then the defense. This defense, led by CO-DCs, Charlie Strong, and Kevin Steele, the defensive line has a lot of talent, and it is super deep. You have a couple of returning players who I'm high on, and you also have some key transfers who you got in the transfer portal, which I'm not going to name them all because we'll be sitting here all day. But I do like Leonard Taylor and Chance Williams. They both had 2.5 sacks each last year. I'm expecting Leonard Taylor to have a 7 or 8 sack season because he was highly touted coming out of high school. Miami Hurricanes fans were really excited when he ended up committing to the Canes. Me too. So I'm expecting him to do big things this year. You also have some transfer portal guys who I like a lot, like West Virginia transfer Daryl Jackson. Well, Daryl Jackson is coming from Maryland, but you have Akeem Messidor from West Virginia also. So those are a couple of transfers that I really like a lot. Then you have safeties Avante Williams and James Williams. This may be one of the best safety tandems, not only in the ACC, but in college football. James Williams, I believe he led the team in interceptions last season. Great size, great length, incredible athlete, future first-round pick written all over him. Same thing with Avante Williams. He's also a stud as well. Then at the cornerback room, you have Tyreek Stevenson, Corey Couch, DJ Ivy. There are some really good football players on this Hurricanes roster. And that's why I feel really confident about making the claim that the Hurricanes are going to win the ACC. There's no reason why Miami shouldn't win the ACC this year. There's really no reason why Miami shouldn't have been competing for the ACC in years past because the Coastal has been down, aside from a couple of teams who have risen up to the occasion. However, there's just so many teams this year in the Coastal that have question marks. And not just the Coastal, but the whole entire conference as a whole. So for the Hurricanes, with Mario Cristobal being in the mix, he's one of the best coaches in college football, great recruiter. He has assembled a really good staff. I don't see why Miami shouldn't be winning this conference this year. We saw Mel Tucker and what he did with Michigan State in only 1 year. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to see Mario Cristobal do the same thing with the Hurricanes. So you guys let me know what you guys think about the Miami Hurricanes this season. Do you feel that they will win the ACC Championship? I know a lot of you guys are probably going to push back on it, but I feel really strong in my Hurricanes this year. They let me down pretty much every year. But I think that this is finally going to be the year that he put everything together and that they end up actually being able to compete for a championship and maybe potentially winning the conference, which I believe will happen. I've been a Miami Hurricane fan since I first started watching college football, and I have never witnessed this team win a championship. You know what I have to do to watch the Miami Hurricanes compete for championships? Either do it myself on NCAA 14 or go back and watch old replays from 2002. So for me, as a fan, I would love to see this team actually win something in my lifetime and not just a petty bowl game. I want to see Miami be in a New Year's Six bowl game. I'm not expecting college football playoffs. I'm not expecting this team to go undefeated. All I'm saying is that I'm expecting this team to win the ACC. And believe it or not, that's not me having overly high expectations, considering the fact that the ACC is regarded as one of the worst Power 5 conferences in college football. So you have NC State, you have Wake Forest, you're going to have Clemson who's going to be in the mix. There's no reason why Miami isn't capable of being able to beat those teams, especially Clemson. Clemson has so many concerns. When you look at their coaching staff, many people are looking at Dabo Swinney. He's going to have a big magnifying glass on him this year. Heck, Clemson doesn't really even have consistent play from their quarterback position. And that's one of the most important positions in all of college football. If you have a great quarterback, you're able to win at least 8 games. So Mario Cristobal having pretty much the best quarterback in this conference, that should be a guaranteed 8 games. And another thing, when it came to the Hurricanes under Manny Diaz, there were many games that came down to one possession. And the reason why Miami lost some of those games was due to poor time management. You had some situations where the field goal kicker ended up missing on a couple of game-winning field goals, which he never should have been put in those situations anyway, because Miami should have went ahead and scored and sealed the game. So with a better head coach who is better at managing those kind of late-game situations, that's going to help Miami. Because for Manny Diaz, he wasn't a bad coach. As a matter of fact, I think he was better than Al Golden. Don't know if I would put him over Mark Richt, but he was definitely better than Al Golden, in my opinion. The thing that really hurt Manny is simply for the fact that he wasn't really good in those late game situations. And that's what happens when you have an inexperienced head coach who's learning on the job. Mario Cristobal isn't learning on the job. We have a head coach who is established, a head coach who understands how to manage these situations, a head coach who has played in several big games, a head coach who has played in title games and came out on top in them. So if anybody comes out and says that my expectations are too high, I want to tell you to go back and watch Michigan State under Mel Tucker. They got a couple of guys in the transfer portal, had everybody buy in, and they went to a New Year's Six bowl game. Although they didn't win the Big Ten is a whole different animal compared to the ACC. I don't think I really need to explain that. However, ACC Championship is my expectations for the Miami Hurricanes this year. Hopefully they don't let me down. But if Miami doesn't win an ACC Championship, I'm not going to say this season was a disappointment. If Miami's able to win 10 games, I'll be happy. Hopefully they win 10 games plus the ACC Championship. I don't see no reason why they can't. But you guys let me know how you guys are feeling about the Miami Hurricanes football program down in the comment section down below.